Hi everyone and welcome back to the channel. Today is another install video and we're going to be fitting a short shifter kit to the 6th generation Celica today. So when it comes to short shifters for the 6th generation Celica, you are quite limited in options. There are a couple of really good kits out there, but they're going to cost you £150 plus. Now the kit that I've bought is just a £33 eBay kit. And it's actually specifically made for the 7th generation Celica. But through a bit of research on Facebook groups and forums online, it turns out that you can actually just use a 7th generation Celica short shifter and it should fit the 6th generation, fingers crossed. So that's what we're going to find out today. So like I just said, I bought my kit off of eBay for around $33.99 including postage. It is specific for a 7th generation Celica, but there we have the actual short shifter itself. Okay, and then the kit also comes with these riser blocks. Just show you those. There we go. And I'll show you what those are for later. And then you also get the extended bolts and washers in that kit for $33.99. So we're going to see what it's like. Okay, so obviously the first thing you want to do whilst installing a short shifter kit is take off your gear knob, and that's as simple as just unscrewing it. I've already loosened this one a little bit so it shouldn't be too tight. It should just unscrew. Just like that. The next thing you want to do, guys, is just pop off this center section. It literally just pulls up, simple as that. And then there's two more clips. There's like one holding it there and one holding it here. And if you give that a bit of a wiggle around, don't pull too hard, and then it should just unpop. It's a bit hard doing this one-handed. Go. A little bit fiddly to get that out, but yeah, you see what I mean? There's two clips holding in there and there. Now once you've done that, you obviously have to bear in mind that your cigarette lighter is going to be plugged into the back here, so don't just expect to pull this whole thing off straight away. You're going to have to disconnect your cigarette lighter from the back. I'm just going to do that quickly. Okay, so as you can see, I just disconnected the cigarette lighter. There's a couple of little clips, those ones down there, and they plug into the back of there. And then once you've unplugged that whole center section will just lift out. You then just want to lift your gator off, and then as you can see, that is what we're going to be working with today down in there. But obviously we need a little bit more access. Okay, so I will show you now how to remove this whole center piece here. Okay, so this is something I should have filmed before I started taking everything off, but it's alright, we can still do it now. I just wanted to quickly measure how long the throw is from first to second gear with the stock shifter on, so that when we do have the short shifter on, we can see how much the throw has been reduced by. Alright, so just going to quickly get that lined up. Alright, yeah, we're in first gear right now. And then let's chuck it down to second. Alright, so we're at about 4 inches. Okay, so the next thing you're going to want to do, guys, is you're going to want to take this screw out here, which is just a Phillips head. And that one there, that's also just a Phillips head. Then you've got one down here. Then you've got another one here. And then once you've done that, you want to open your center console. It's a bit dirty in here, it needs a bit of a clean really. But then you've got two bolts. Okay, so on mine these are 12mm bolts. Might be different on yours, but yeah, these ones are 12mm. It's always a good idea, guys, whenever you are doing an install like this and you've got little screws and bolts, keep them all in one place so you don't lose any. I just put them in this little bag. just so I know where they all are and they don't get lost. Okay, so I've taken the 2 screws out here and also the 2 bolts that are in there, and then this center section literally just lifts off. So you want to try and get it up over the handbrake. Just move that out of the way, just like that. And then just be aware that you are going to have something plugged in the bottom here. Okay, right, that's off. I'll just show you guys quickly the little clip I was on about. So it was this little one here. Don't know if you can see that. Yeah, so you want to make sure when you've got those bits loose, don't just completely yank that center console off. Otherwise you will break this. Just make sure you undo that first. It is looking absolutely disgusting under here. I need that. I will definitely give this a good old clean before I put everything back together. You might as well when you've got it off, guys. It's just to give everything a nice clean. Right, now we want to try and get this middle bit off. Alright, okay. So there is actually a couple of screws that I've missed to tell you, which you don't actually see until you've moved off that whole center bit. There is one here, don't know if you can see. Let me just move you down a little bit. Move this seat back as well. Oh, it is back as far. There is one here, okay. Let me bring you in. Yeah, so there is one just sneakily hiding. There he is, there. Yeah, so there is one there, and then there is also one exactly the same on the other side. Now, I'm not sure how I'm going to get to these. Look a bit tricky to get to. So I was struggling to figure out how I was going to get to these bolts down by the seats here, because obviously the seats are in the way, so you can't really get a screwdriver in there. But the best thing to do is these are actually 8mm. They do have a Phillips crosshead on them as well, but like I said, to get a screwdriver in there is deeming a little bit impossible. So get yourself an 8mm socket, or I'm just using this ring spanner here, and then you can actually just take it off using that, rather than trying to, you know, mess about with trying to get a screwdriver in there. Now, to get these knee guard bits off that connects to all of this is proving a little bit more work intensive than I thought, but there are 2 more screws. There's one under there in the passenger side, and then in the same location as well on the driver's side, and they're holding that. They're still holding in this knee pad section here. Right, as you can see, guys, I have managed to get the side knee panels off, but it took a lot more than I thought it was going to. As you can see, you pretty much have to take out everything in the middle. So I've had to take out the double DIN stereo, and the reason why you have to do that is because you need to be able to access in behind the heater control, which is this here, because you need to disconnect the things that are holding in the heater control to be able to pull that out. And then once you've done that, you then actually can take off the knee panels. Now I'm going to start taking apart this assembly. I'm going to start with these. These apparently can be a right pain to get off. So I'm going to do that off camera and let you know how I get on with them, and I'll catch up with you in a minute. Wow, okay. I'm not going to lie, this part of the install so far has definitely been the most difficult part, was getting that off of there. Just had a right battle with it, as you can see. But the best way to do it is just to keep at it with a flathead. If you've got a smaller flathead than that, then definitely use it, and the trusty old hammer. But yeah, the trick is you really need to get in behind the actual clip. You need to get in behind it, and then once you get in behind it, you can start to like wedge it off. But the actual initial getting in behind it is the most difficult. Both of those clips are off now, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to start banging this through, and then that will come out there. Then once I've done that, I'll do the same to this side. That will bang out, and that will then release the mechanism on this side. Got a little clip down here that you have to take out as well. And then once I've done that, I'll catch up with you guys. So I'm actually at the stage now where I'm going to be installing the short shifter kit. The first thing I'm going to do is install these riser blocks. Now what you do is there's a 12mm there, there's a 12mm in that little hole there. Where's the other one? There's one there, and then there's also one in there. So if you take all of those out, and then inside the little hole will be like a little rubber mount. You want to pop the rubber mount out. Then once you've done that, these slip in underneath, and then you put the extended bolts that you get in the kit through the top. So when you do have your old shifter off, you want to make sure that you transfer all the old bits onto the new one. So what I mean by that is you want to take this off, and then also this piece to put on to the new shifter. I'm going to go ahead and do all that, and when I do it, I'm going to clean it all up and also put some new grease on it. So because this shifter is specifically for a 7th generation Celica, I knew that I would have to do a little bit of adjusting along the way to make sure it fits nice and snug and properly. So the first thing being that these little white ball joint cups, they don't fit over the new shifter balls very tightly. So they were very loose, and they were literally, you could just go like that and pull it on and off like that. And that's not good. You really don't want that, because if you're changing gear and that pops off, then you're a bit screwed. You're not going to be able to change gear. So I solved this by just inserting a little piece of kind of rubber. So just a little piece like this. I greased it all up inside, and I slid it over the top. So just so that the ball can still move, but not to the point where you can just pop it out. I did the same thing on the bottom one down there as well. And then the other issue I ran into was I did install it all just then, and there was quite a bit of play on the top here. And the reason being is because I don't think this middle ball section, so this bit here, I don't think that's quite as thick as the stock one either. So what I've done is, because I actually own another 6th generation Celica, which I'm in the process of breaking at the moment, I went and nicked another piece of rubber. So you can see one's on there, and then one's also there. So I nicked the piece of rubber off of that one, and then I'm going to basically just double up on the rubber, so that it's not wiggling about as much, so there's not as much play when you're in neutral and when you're in gear and stuff. So yeah, those are the couple of little problems I ran into. I'm going to get it all back together again, and then once I've done that, I'll show you guys what it looks like. Oh, and one other problem I ran into was when you reinstall the pins, the pin they give you for the 7th generation kit is this big, okay, but your original pin for the 6th generation is this big. So make sure you don't ruin your original pin that goes through the front bit here, okay, because the one they supply for the 7th gen kit is obviously a lot shorter because it's specifically for the 7th generation. As you can see, I have put everything back together now, and the short shifter is installed. Just show you guys quickly. Yeah, so the gear changes do actually feel really nice, like very precise, and just it's got that nice kind of just click to it, like just goes straight in. Yeah, so let's do our quick measure test, because we had 4-inch throw from first to second at the beginning of the video. So let's see how big the throw is now. I'm in first gear, let's drop it down. And I'm going to call that, oof, I'll say 2.5, roughly. Yeah, just over 2.5 inches. So that's 1.5 inches throw off of the original shifter. Can you fit an eBay 7th generation Celica short shifter to a 6th generation Celica? Well, as you've seen in the video, it can be done. You have to do a little bit of fiddling around and kind of like a little bit of changing about of parts and stuff, but overall it can be done. And for £33, I think it's a no-brainer. It's a nice cheap mod to do. It reduces the throw by 1.5 inches, and it just makes the gears feel nice and precise and solid. To go with the new short shifter, I do actually have a new weighted gear knob, but I'll show you guys that in a separate video. Thank you for watching today's install video. If you enjoyed it, don't forget to click the like button, and if you don't want to miss out on any further content, also don't forget to click the subscribe button. Again, thank you for watching, and I'll see you all in the next video.